Thank you, Margaret, for getting in touch. Lauren says, hi, Ashley and Paul. It's Lauren here. I know Sammy Davis Jr. has been played quite a few times in the show, and I don't want to upset you because he is good at that song, which was Wichita. I'm a Wichita Lineman. Wichita Lineman? Wichita Lineman. Am I saying that right?
Wichita Lineman?
Ooh,
I think it's a Wichita Lineman.
that was one of those things where I said the word and my brain went, nah.
That's not the right thing.
That's not the right thing. But she says he doesn't beat Glenn Campbell. Do you think he beats Glenn Campbell?
Personally,
hands down.
yes. But if I'm thinking with my head, no. If I'm thinking with my heart, hands down, yeah. And I always think with my heart.
Oh.
Unless Rhinestone Cowboy comes on.
I have to stop it, Paul. Chris and Leanne have been in touch and says, hello, Ashley and Silent Paul. Chris and Leanne listening in. We enjoyed last week's show, but we did not have enough text to moan about the amount of job interviews I have had. Worst one, 3 hours sleep, could hardly see. I walked out when they left me to fill out a test. They are never good. We are in the middle of moving house, not through choice. Oh, the house is unsafe and we need to move. This is to be done in 3 weeks' time. Oh, mate, that is one of the most stressful things people can go through. So I'm wishing you all of my calmness and serenity, which I don't have much of, but I'm pushing it towards you, and I hope it makes you feel better. Great show. Nice to hear those swingers again. 1,000 Kennys to both of you, and it's got to be Sammy for us. He wasn't in the running, but I always want Sammy Davis Jr. to win everything. So thank you so much, Chris and Leanne, and I hope your move is as easy as it can be. Phil, do you want to read this one from Phil, Paul? Okay, I'll read it. I don't know why you're suddenly gone silent again. It's super weird. We've got a message from Phil.
Just like to play coy.
He says,
It's like it's what makes me the dreamboat that I am.
Dear Ashley and sexy Silent Paul, says Phil, my worst movie experience happened to be my first date with the lovely Miss Vicky. This was in a small town with a few cinema options. The movie that week was Alive, the 1970s film telling the story of a plane crash in South America where the survivors resorted to cannibalism. Not the best date film. At least there was a second date, so she didn't judge me too much.
I'm sure that film was the 90s.
Cheers from our wee caravan from Phil and Vicky. No, the 1970s-ish. I think the thing happened in the 1970s.
Yeah.
But the film was set in, I don't know. I've never seen it because it's not something.
I have. It's a hard watch.
It is my parents' first date film was Kramer versus Kramer. Which is a divorce film. Which I think is kind of cute. Have you been on a cinema date? What was your first cinema date film?
Mission Impossible 2.
Which? Great film. Great date film. Absolutely perfect. Mine, I went to see The Scorpion King when I was very young on a date, and I had never been kissed, and the boy tried to kiss me and I hit him and ran away because I did not want to kiss. Waited outside and said to the man, can I come back and watch it the next time once he leaves, because he kept distracting me and I wanted to see The Scorpion King in full. So I left and came back, and I remember going to see Godzilla and an old woman just walking up and down the aisle screaming Godzilla and having a really good time.
That's like James Cameron could only wish for that level of immersion in a film.
Indeed. Right. We have played you some of our favourite Hollywood swingers, but we had to pick a worst of the worst.
With the good comes the bad.
And also the unexpected. And I think that this artist was unexpected as a Hollywood swinger.
I mean, to be fair, he should probably, I'd said something else, but he should probably win 2 awards here. I think there's a bit of recency bias here with people that were saying this was the worst.
Because it was more recently played.
Yeah. But it does win the Dennis Waterman Award.
For?
Write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. He wrote it, he played it, he sings it. Mm-hmm. Whether he sings it well is up to you.
We don't have to play the whole thing, do we?
We'll play as much as you can stomach.
Okay.
It's Twin Peaks director, crazy weird movie director David Lynch.
Some might say not that good a director, but really good at selling himself as a director. I wouldn't say that, but some would say that. Don't turn me down. Here's David Lynch with...
Yeah, his films might not be good. His television shows might not be good. But his day might be good, at least today.
Is that enough yet? No? That was David Lynch, winner of the Worst Hollywood Swinger with Good Day Today. I know other people liked it. I don't like nervous robot singing. It makes me uncomfortable.
And it started so loudly that it probably put everyone off from the start.
It definitely did. Colonel Mustard in the Dijon 5 has his great show, Guilty as Charged. What other show would play it? Amazing. I don't think any other show would play it. John C. Reilly's Guilty as Charged.
I would play the whole album. If you get the chance, go on. I don't want to start talking about streaming services. Just find something, some way of playing it. Buy the album. I don't care.
Maybe,
watch the film.
Maybe STV have it.
Every song.
Sorry. Every song's a good one. Is that what you were going to say? Cool. Angie Chan says, to swing into music implies something transient, a delightful novelty like the Dewey Cox John C. Reilly number. Much as it pains me, I too think Bette Midler and Julie Andrews should be disqualified.
But I don't think they can. You can't disqualify both of them because they both started out as actors. They started out acting.
It doesn't. It's like Jared Leto. Other people were like, yeah, he was in a band before he was an actor. No, he wasn't. He was an actor way before he was in a band. It's just he had more success as a singer before he became an actor again. So, I mean, I don't know. But do you know what? Angie Chan's it's a made-up competition. It's not real, so I don't think it matters. Paul's now flipped nearly back in his chair. NBA fan says, enjoying the show. I also vote for John C. Reilly as King of the Swingers. 100 Kenny Rogers roasters for him. Well, he's not King of the Swingers, but he was close enough. We have had a wee request from the Highlands. It's Murdo from the Highlands who says, a good song from a film is Hippie Hippie Shake from Cocktail. And you're not wrong. So here it is, the Hippie Hippie Shake by the Swinging Blue Jeans.
For goodness sake, I got the hippie hippie shakes. Yeah, I got the shakes. I got the hippie hippie shakes. Oh, I can't sit still with the hippie hippie shakes. Yeah, I feel now with the hippie hippie shakes. Yeah, it's in the bag. Oh, the hippie hippie shake. Well, now you shake it to the left, you shake it to the right, you do the hippie shake shake with all of your might, oh baby. Yeah, come on and shake. Oh, it's in the bag. Oh, the hippie hippie shake. Well, now you shake it to the left, you shake it to the right, you do the hippie shake shake with all of your might, oh baby. Yeah, come on, shake. Oh, it's in the bag. Oh, the hippie hippie shake. Oh, the hippie hippie shake. Oh, the hippie hippie shake.
From that Tom Cruise classic with Elizabeth Shue, Cocktail, the Hippie Hippie
I like
Shake.
all actors that are named after footwear.
I love Elizabeth Shue. Adventures in Babysitting, also called A Night in the Town. Fantastic film. Brilliant. Love her. Also, Cocktail was in that kind of era of great touchstone movies. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those weird, wild, wacky films that
Yeah.
existed in that Touchstone era. So I'm a fan of that. We've got some messages. Jim in Netherley says, went to the Grosvenor Cinema off Byers Road, snuck in a wee bit late and then tried to open my grab bag of Maltesers in the dark. Other honeycomb chocolates are available. But as I tried to pull open the
Not
corners...
honeycomb, it's malt.
As I tried to pull open the corners, the bag burst and the contents shot around the cinema like shrapnel. Very glad the dark hid my identity. Thank you so much, Jim in Netherley. In the Grosvenor Cinema, the old Grosvenor Cinema, I haven't been in it for years, but in the old cinema in Byers Road, they had a prophylactic machine in the ladies' toilet. And when we were kids, we thought it was the height of hilarity to go in there, buy loads of packets of them, blow them up and smack them down the aisles at the back of people's heads. And they were also whiskey scented, which was the worst part of it.
Who's won that?
Nobody's wanting it apart from 10-year-olds who think it's really funny to blow them up and then whack them at their mommy and daddy's heads. The cinema, because
People who
the
do
film
the business to Brimstone Cowboy.
we did ask
Smelling
people,
like Grant's other whiskies are available.
we did ask people what their worst cinematic experience was. Paul and Govan says, Natural Born Killers, the only time I ever walked out of a film. I would rather sit through, well, anything, says Tosh, which, well, no, he says that is Tosh. It wasn't from Tosh. I got excited and thought it was somebody from the bill, but it isn't. It's Paul Govan. We've got a message here that says, I paid for our whole family to see Dune, and I knew within 5 minutes it was going to be long, boring, and there wouldn't be a single laugh. And I was right. And Paul agrees with you, even though he liked...
I like that filmmaker's movies. Denis Villeneuve. Dune I just thought was so boring.
I haven't seen it. I don't need to see it.
There's
I don't
like
need
10
to see...
flashbacks of Zendaya's character. It's like a perfume advert.
Oh, do you know what would make Dune brilliant? If there was just a wee guy going, is Emily got any spice? Mate, you want to buy some spice? That would make Dune exceptional. But
Just a 10 bag of spice, my
just
man.
mate, if you get, I'll pay you back later if you get any spice. It'd be so good, but no. Said, what have you got? Timothy Chalet with a big giant worm. Not interested, not having it. Thank you very much. Martin in Orkney says, ugh, Lynch is even worse than I remember him. It's like someone has put my ears in a microwave with some tin foil. It's not recency bias, it's just bulk. Martin Orkney, you're right. Right. Next up, it's number 2 in our top 10 list.
This was hard.
It was between two songs, between two ferns, between two songs. We had to pick one. Number 2 in the Hollywood Swingers, King of the Swingers,
One of
2022.
I would say, I mean, this should almost be a 1A and a 1B.
It is a 1A
It
and a
really
1B.
should be a 1A and a 1B. This had whatever like the winner has in terms of being fun.
This has...
had the opposite emotion. This is when you see the yin and the yang, when you see the two faces, the happy one and the sad one. This is the sad one. It has all the emotion. It's all the heartfelt, a life story, probably one of the best swinger stories I've ever done.
And one of the most relatable... First of all, number 2, it is Richard Pryor.
Yes.
Paul told us his life story, which was sad, it was harrowing, it was exceptional, it was exciting, it was self-destructive, it was anxious. Richard Pryor struggled so hard with stage fright. Nina Simone held him to her body to help him be able to get up on stage. And this is one of the few recordings of him singing.
Yes.
And it is exceptional. When I shared this on Twitter with people who don't listen to the show, they all agreed that this was exceptional. So here he is. It's the late, great Richard Pryor with Nobody Wants You When You're Down and Out.
Once I lived the life of a millionaire, spending my money, I didn't care. Taking all my friends out for real good time, buying champagne, whiskey, bootleg wine. But one day I began to sink so low. Didn't have a friend, no place to I'm gonna squeeze onto it till the eagle grins. Nobody wants you when you're down and out. Well, in your pockets if you don't have 1 penny. Well, your friends, you just don't have any. But just as soon as you get back up on your feet again, here they all come talking about, hey baby, I'm your long lost friend. Whoa, it's mighty strange, but without a doubt, nobody wants you. I said, nobody needs you.
That was Richard Pryor with Nobody Wants You When You're Down and Out. A moving, exceptional piece of music. What a voice he had on him. I can't believe that he chose comedy over singing when he had that talent locked in there. But I mean, he was an exceptional comedian as well. He was an exceptional actor. He was an exceptional human being. Oh, I'm so glad we got to play that again. Davy Hepburn in Aberdeen says, okay, Richard Pryor wins. I mean, in terms of musicality, Richard Pryor wins. But number one,
Yeah.
it goes to something special, does it not, Paul?
Yeah, but we'll come to that in a minute.
Right, okay. Richard Pryor, absolutely brilliant. I'm glad that we played him again. Let me just quickly go through some of the people who sent us in messages about the things that really bother them in the cinema. Teresa says, other people, so I don't go. Which I think is the best answer. Just other people. Liz says, talking, sweetie papers, seat kicking, latecomers. I don't know why I bother going. Paul loves going to the cinema, and I don't know how he copes with all of those things because he hates other people and he hates other noises and he hates chewing noises and whatnot. So I don't know how he manages it. Moira. Now, this is the Moira Robertson who has the Yorkies. She says, when my grandchildren were younger, I often took them to the cinema in the afternoon, and sometimes I would nod off. Thought I had got away with it until the wee ones would shout, Gran, you're snoring really loud. Which is so cute. Oh, thank you so much for getting in touch. Fiona says, I can't stand it. People constantly going in and out the loo, talking, eating, rustling packets. Agree. Kaz says the last twice I've been to the cinema. The last 2 times I've been to the cinema, though the last twice is a great way of phrasing that. Young folks have turned up halfway through the film, interrupted everyone while trying to find their seats, only to traipse back out when they noticed it was the wrong film. Young people, what are they like? Phil says, Eagle Eye Paul, you're correct. Alive was a 1993 film. The one we watched in 1976 was called Survive. Same plane crash, different film. Did you know that?
There you are. Didn't know there was another version of it or an earlier version, but
That's
there
like
we
Ants
have
and
it.
Bugs Life.
But many, many years apart.
Yeah, it's completely different. I don't know why I said that.
Do you think that it's always the same sort of types of movies that do that? Either animation films or action films, but it's never like really serious movies.
No, there was the one that's like Olympus Has Fallen and something else
White
came out
House Down.
at the exact same time, and I thought they were the same film.
They practically are.
Are they very close? Why do you think that happens?
I just think someone in Hollywood sees a script and is like, right, hurry up and write that. I'll do it. It's probably just like you in real life. You just sell the same script over and over again.
Shush now. Yeah, shush yourself. That's a secret that we're not talking about. Katie says, I was at the cinema tonight, so I'm really late. I was seeing Billie Eilish live at the O2 recording, and everyone went up to the front, and it was amazing. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't get sensory overload. That sounds like a fun night. Right, Paul, is it time for number one?
Yeah, but let's talk about it a little bit because I mean, there's a big instrumental at the end of it. It's quite hard to do timings on this one. but we need to talk about it. So it's our number one,
Hollywood Swinger
1A.
2022. It's possibly one of my favourite human beings, still going. The great Mel Brooks. Now, this is from the history of the world,
Part 1.
and apparently part 2 is coming out. Folk have been messaging me to
Yeah,
tell me.
as we've learned.
And one of the things I love about this is everybody thinks that Lin-Manuel Miranda's hip-hop musical Hamilton is the first hip-hop history take. It is wrong. For Mel Brooks was there way before,
Yeah.
telling us all about France and the revolt of the peasants.
He was breaking all the boundaries like he did in these films, like he did in terms of issues of race.
Yep.
Breaking fourth wall in movies. Just absolute legend.
And I think that, like, you look at something like The Producers, which is essentially a very hard subject to talk about,
Yeah.
a very hard subject to discuss, but Mel Brooks manages to make it magical, make it fun, and that's the
And
magic
do you know
he
what
brings
he
to
had?
the world.
He had a beautiful love story
He did have a beautiful
with
love
his
story.
lovely wife who
Um,
passed away, Anne Bancroft.
Anne Bancroft, aka the mum from The Graduate.
Yeah. And what is it? He said something like about the spaghetti.
He missed having, oh no, don't, it'll make me cry. He missed eating spaghetti with her and watching films. Okay, can we play it now?
We can play it now.
It's Mel Brooks, and it's good to be the king because he is king. He's king of the swingers. Here you are, pal. Here's your crown. Yes.
Now get down, people, and listen to me. Gonna tell you how I made history. You can call me Louis, I'm the king of France. Check out my story while you do your dance. Now in 1789, the peasants were starving, but I was fine. We were hanging out down in old Versailles. That's the weekend pad of my queen and I. In the alleys of Paris, they was eating rats, but it was filet mignon for the aristocrats. There was dukes and counts and barons and earls. I gave them the titles, but I kept the girls. Blondes, redheads, wild brunettes, ladies in waiting. I didn't wait to get. There was truffles for breakfast, toss for brunch. The Lion of the Follies Berger for lunch. Say it, girl. You can be sure about one thing. It's good to be the king. It's good to be the king. Well, the palace was rocking, we were doing it good. When we heard there was some trouble in the neighborhood, I wasn't too worried, no big deal. You step out of line, Jack, you're in the Bastille. The party kept swinging all day and all night. The champagne was flowing, we was feeling all right. They were screaming for bread, things started to shake. But Marie Antoinette said, well, let them eat cake. Now the rapper wouldn't have it, they was angry and mean. They built a big old race, they called it guillotine. Then the people up shouted, we'll have our day. Down with dirty war, give us Perrier. I said, the more we roll, things might get screwed, but then never lay a finger on good King Louis. Just keep your cool, don't fret, don't freak. I say, hey, say magnifique. Oh, yes, it's good to be the king. Ooh, la, la, gee, but it's good to be the king. Your fantasy is my reality. You can be sure about one thing. Ooh, la, la, it's good to be the king. It's good to be the king. Night and day, kung fu rain. Well, they broke down the gates in one massive assault, and the party came to a grinding halt. They took the midgets and the freakies with the girls in tow, and a voice said, Louis, it's time to go. They put my neck on the block, they took off my
wig, and it occurred to me this was the end of the gig. They asked me, did I have any last words to say? Well, I raised my head and I hollered, hey!
Yes, it's good to be the king. Gee, but it's good to be the king.
Well, c'est la vie, make that my more.
You can be sure about one thing. It's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king. Oh, yes, it's good to be the king.
Well, it was good while it lasted.
We can be sure about one thing. It's good to be the king.
C'est bon d'être le roi. Come on, you do it. You know you do it. Everybody does it. I just did it. I'm ready to do it again.
There he is. It's good to be the king. That was our king of the Swingers 2022, Mel Brooks. We're going to hand you over to our very capable friends at BBC Radio 5 Live for the rest of the night. But before we go, let's say a big thank you to all of our Hollywood Swingers in 2022. Hollywood Swingers will be back, but our top 10. Number 10, Betty White. Number 9, Marlon Brando. Number 8, Don Johnson. 7, Susan Sarandon. 6, Nichelle Nichols. Antonio Banderas. John C. Reilly. Bette Midler. Commiserations to David Lynch, who was not good at all. Number 2, Richard Pryor. And number 1, our king is Mel Brooks. Hollywood Swingers will continue for years to come, much like our Brookside podcast, The Close. Me and Paul will be back next Friday, where we'll continue to be your daytime friends, but your nighttime lovers. Caw-caw!